think we're live now. There we
Hi,
go.
hello. Hi, Sam. How are you?
Hey, Paul. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Okay, cool. Looking forward to doing a bit of Oculus stuff with you.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of VR.
For anyone who's just joined, we've been having some challenges getting the audio to work at the moment. Paul is sharing his screen with me at the moment, and I'm streaming my screen. So you'll see Paul move around with VR. We're going to be testing virtual reality today. Do you mind giving us a bit of an introduction about yourself, Paul? What do you do?
Okay, well, hi. My name's Paul Maxwell Walters. I'm from the UK, but I've been living in Sydney for about 10 years. Well, for 11 years, actually. I've worked as a tester since about 2008, 2009, working in digital media and banking. Right now, I'm working in the field of education tech. And also, I'm one of the exec members of Sydney Testers.
Yeah, Paul and I have been working together through Sydney Testers for like a good couple of years now.
Yeah, so long.
And it's a great meetup event for anyone who wants to hopefully meet and learn from other software testers in the industry. Are there upcoming in-person events scheduled for Sydney Testers soon?
We'll be doing in-person social drinks events every couple of months. We're just slowly getting back into it. Um, we are doing an in-person. We're doing a live. Um, we're doing a live presentation um, by Stephanie. Sorry, I've just forgotten her last name for a minute.
Yeah,
And she will be talking, and this will be on Tuesday
Stephanie Russell or
at
something?
5:30 Sydney time.
Yeah,
And
Stephanie
then she'll be
Russell.
talking. Yeah, Stephanie Russell, that's it. Yeah, and she'll be talking about combinatorial testing.
Okay, lovely stuff.
And she has a tool which she developed which should greatly help with that.
So, how long have you had, or what headset are you using for VR?
Okay, I'm using an Oculus Quest 2
An Oculus Quest 2?
by Facebook Meta.
Uh,
It's one of the more entry level. It's not as expensive as some of the other ones, although the graphics are quite good, but you can get a lot of games for it, a lot of apps for it. So it is, but it's kind of if these days if you want to get into VR, this is kind of the cheap stroke mid range headset you purchase.
mm. And how long have you had that headset for?
Probably about 3 weeks actually, not long.
Oh, okay, so this is all a fairly new experiment from your side as well.
It is. Have you ever done any sort of testing in VR before?
I've never really taken my testing hat to trying to test anything in VR. I've had a play around with the technology. Have there been any issues that you've observed with the headset over
Uh,
the last couple of weeks?
some of the apps have shown a few issues, particularly regarding a few things have crashed. I've not been able to replicate it afterwards. But in fact, I had a crash today with VRChat, which is the most popular of the social chat applications on in the VR space. Um, what I tend to find bugs related to rendering of 2D items in 3D
Yeah.
or integration with other things. Um, and also how physics, how certain things work in physics, how physics works in certain worlds. Like, for example, you can walk through walls and things, or you can walk through items that should be solid. You're stopped by some items, but if you take a few steps forward, you kind of leave your body, go somewhere, and then can fall off the edge of a cliff or something.
Mm. And
Or
I
how you
think
handle picking up certain items. You can put them in places where they're not supposed to go because certain things are transparent when they shouldn't be. Certain things look weirdly rendered. Also, there's certain things specifically regarding the settings for the Oculus regarding the layout of the room. It's got 6 degrees of freedom cameras, which it uses for positioning. Then, as I'll show you before, sometimes when you try and lay out a specific space in that world, you can for you to walk through safely and move safely, sometimes it has issues with walls or it sees things that aren't there.
Yeah.
It might
I
turn
mean,
off with
like
that.
motion sickness is a pretty common problem with VR headsets too. Have you come across anything like that?
It is a common problem. The only time I've ever had motion sickness is when I've been on a. I purchased a roller coaster ride,
Yeah.
and which is probably the extreme case of motion sickness. I didn't have proper motion sickness, but I just feel a bit queasy.
Yeah.
That's using that.
I found wearing VR headsets, if I want to wear my glasses underneath the VR headset, it gets very uncomfortable, but it's also like really hard to use a VR headset without the glasses because I need my glasses to see.
Yeah, true. That's true. You can also scratch the lenses of the VR headset, and that's one of the problems with the Oculus Quest 2. They give you these little rubber rings that you put over the lenses to separate the two of them.
Yeah. They can get a little uncomfortable to wear for extended periods of time.
I can usually wear them for a couple of hours without any problems.
Okay,
After that, I
cool.
think it starts becoming a bit of an issue. But
Well,
I've not had neck aches. The worst I've had so far is if I was doing a, is when I was doing a boxing act and I accidentally stepped out my area and punched a wall.
yeah, the losing the I guess the awareness of where stuff around you is while in VR is a bit of a challenge too sometimes.
It is one of the good things about the Oculus, and bad things in a way, is it's very immersive. So you can end up in a situation where so you kind of forget where you are and you forget where things are around you. And there are loads of clips on the internet of like people, doing boxing acts and accidentally smacking the light fittings in, or a kid walks past and accidentally punch a kid, or something really terrible. To be honest.
Oh, okay.
Or,
Would you mind giving us a bit of a tour of some of the features?
okay, sure, yes. Let me stand up. In the other webcam, you'll be able to see what I do. So you'll be able to see both me in real life doing stuff and the world in the VR app that I see. So let me just do up. One of the things you can do is you can position yourself anywhere in the world and bring up the same menu. But just to pan around, this is this is my home screen VR.
Yep.
There are other ones you can pick as well. This isn't the default one, but I've chosen to live on the space station.
Have a
Can you
look
still hear me all
over.
right?
Yeah, yeah, I can still hear you all right. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. So just overlooking Mars there, I guess.
Some planet or other.
Yeah.
But then don't forget there is the real world, which is outlined by a border around me, as you can see there.
Okay.
And this is where I can safely walk or position myself without hitting a wall or punching into anything
Yeah.
or hitting anything. What I can do, for instance, is if I step out of the wall with this boundary, instantly it turns into the camera view, or what we call a pass-through view, which is of the real world, and some sort of infrared style positioning camera uh, position, view of where it is. So I know that I'm a bit too close to my exercise cross trainer at the moment.
Okay.
But if I was to set one of these up, for instance, what I would do is sorry about this is called the Guardian, and you've got two types of Guardian. One of them is the stationary Guardian, which is just a circle around you. So if I select the stationary, this is the entire space I can take up.
Yeah.
And you can see the rest of the room, or at least the view from the cameras. If I confirm that, then this is really for when you're sitting down. And there are certain apps where you couldn't really do this. Like for example, Beat
Mm.
Saber, you couldn't really play like this.
Oh, I had a friend who was playing Beat Saber sitting down the other day.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah, so you
Do you have to
can.
turn, do you have to turn certain settings off, like when the blocks come at you and stuff?
Yeah, there was, I think there's particular songs that work better if you're sitting down rather than standing.
Yeah. Certainly by default you can do it. You can switch certain things off so you can play it. Let me switch to room scale boundary. That's a bit more. So it's a bit more. There's another aspect to it I can show you. So what you have a pen. You can draw out a space. So if I can see, as you can see, one of the problems that I have had very recently is that it thinks that all of these things are objects in my area,
Okay.
and that partly might be down to the lack of lighting. It's the lights on in the room is not particularly great, but it does look. It also doesn't recognize the cable either, which is fine for what I want to do with it, but it could have been a risk later on maybe. However, it does recognize the chair, which is slightly in the area,
Hmm.
the chair which the computer is on. Let me redraw it to miss out the chair. There you go. As you can see, it doesn't pick up the chair. It picks up. I think it picks up discrepancies in the color of the carpet and thinks that there are things on the floor.
Yep.
So that's something it's not quite doing right. But when I tested this in other rooms where there's a bit more light, it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I've heard that lighting can be a real problem when trying to set things up for virtual reality, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, if the light is too dark, like it fits in the evening, and you're only using, say, light from a table lamp or something, it will immediately switch off. It will turn off the tracking and say, we can't continue tracking like this. So you can continue to use it, but beware. Caveat emptor.
Hmm.
So if I continue like this, I can confirm the state, and it looks kind of right, just like what these things are saying. It also says these are the objects it finds in the boundary, but they're not really objects unless you think it's a cable. It's not even picking that up.
Yeah, but you've just set that boundary so it will alert you if you go over that.
It will. So if I click continue, and I walk over here towards where the door is, so this is the front, this is the door to the room, and I just set out of the boundary,
Okay.
and you can see my flag.
It's blanked out for you.
Hmm.
Okay.
However, I just noticed something, and that's the position has changed slightly. My hand is before the boundary, and yet I'm touching the wall.
So is that meant to be a boundary there?
Well, there was. It's gone back about 2 inches,
Okay.
which means that I'm sitting on the boundary. You can't see it from the webcam. Maybe you can now. I'm lying on the boundary. I've not crossed the boundary specifically,
Yeah.
but I'm lying against the wall.
Mm.
So it looks like the guardian I've created. Guardians are what we call these boundaries or these spaces that you play in. The guardian I've created is no longer safe
Yeah.
because otherwise I could punch the wall and not realize.
Yeah. It's not very. It's not the most accurate boundary then.
No, it's not. It's gone backwards. Let me just change it again. Hold on. I'll redraw it. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure the floor level. So I put the one of the controllers on the floor. And I'll lay it out again. It usually records boundaries, so you don't have to do this again. But sometimes it doesn't.
Okay. I guess it can be a bit irritating when technology doesn't necessarily remember what you've set up beforehand.
Yeah, true. I made a bit of a mistake there. Let me redraw it. There you go. So this is about as safe a boundary as I can make it. If you look down here, it hasn't picked up anything. It hasn't picked up anything on the floor apart from two. Well, I mean, they're not even there now.
Mm.
So let me confirm. Well, they're not. They don't exist. I'm not going to. I'm going to confirm the play area. So let me show you some of the other features that you can have with the Quest.
Yep, that'd be good if you could walk us through some stuff.
Yeah. So first of all, you have an explore page, which is they've actually done it differently, where it gives you, friends that you have recently say things, the latest deal. I found this quite amusing actually. I think this was a mistake by whoever put this to sale. This isn't the sale item, so the price hasn't changed.
Okay. I've heard UIs in VR can be a little challenging to interact with. Are you using a
Um,
button to scroll on that screen?
well, on here, there's if you look at the controller, it has an up and down joystick,
Ah, okay.
and that's what I'm using.
Yeah. I think the
You can also
VR
drag and
headset
push it up and
that
down too.
yeah, the VR headset that I had interacted with, I think, had just a touchpad type of thing and can be a bit difficult to figure out how to interact with it correctly, especially if you've never
Which
used a
device was
VR
it?
headset before.
Which one was it?
What's that?
Which headset was it?
I think it's the Valve one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, the Valve is supposed to be really good, but I've never used it. Quite
Yeah.
simple.
Um. Yeah, Vive. It's the Vive headset.
Oh yeah, Vive, yeah. So you need to have like different trackers placed around the room.
Yeah, that one. I've got the Vive headset, or my partner's got the Vive headset. They have different trackers set up around the room, and they'll just move the table and stuff out of the way when they want to set up VR.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. This one's got a 6 degrees of freedom setting, so it works out your positioning from where you are compared to the walls. And
Oh, okay.
so they try and handle it a different way, but it means, for example, that I only have control of my hands. Like, for example, I can't play a football game where I'm looking to see for no sense to see. There is a project to get Vive sensors to work, Vive trackers to work with the Oculus, but I don't know if it's got very far.
Mm.
So let me just continue with this. Here, for instance, this is the Wi-Fi and the basic settings, and you can click on settings and the whole settings panel, storage, Wi-Fi. There's some experimental settings that are interesting. I don't use them all. One of them is to access PC VR apps using it without a link cable. Because usually with the other devices and with early versions of the Oculus, you have to physically connect your Oculus to the computer to play Steam games and PC games. But you don't
Oh,
do that
okay.
anymore now. There's another app actually called Virtual Desktop that you can use. But you can also import your Bluetooth mouse and trackpad. So there are certain apps that don't. There are certain games that don't use the controllers,
Yep.
and you can bring those in. Another thing you can do is you can bring your sofa into VR. So you can bring out a space and put where your sofa will be displayed.
Mm.
You can map out a space, and your desk will be there. So you put your control on your desk and you drag it, and which means that your desk is visible in the VR world, which is useful for apps where you use for work-based apps where you're in virtual meetings or where you're doing virtual work with multiple screens on your computer.
Mm.
I don't do that much, to be honest. I've got like a bunch of screens on my computer anyway. Um, and you can also, within the RuleScape boundary as well, you can see outlines of people, without it necessarily changing to black and white camera view.
Mm.
This just gives you an idea where everything is. But I don't tend to switch that on. I think it's a bit distracting. So there are different features like that. There's an online shop that you can use to purchase games. Like I said, this is limited time deals. So all of these are all reduced. But one issue I have found is that this week, today, Resident Evil 4 is on this list. It hasn't been reduced.
Oh, okay. So there's a incorrect listing.
Yeah, there is. Which is kind of slightly annoying because I actually would like to purchase this game. I'm just waiting for the price to drop.
Have you played many of the Resident Evil games previously?
I played a little bit Resident Evil 2. I haven't played like Resident Evil. I haven't played a lot since, to be honest. I think I've played a
Okay.
bit before in the past.
Yeah, I guess the Room would be an interesting and easy port over to VR. I mean, like the Room exists on iOS as well, so it's like a game that's on like every single platform. It's a pretty straightforward puzzle game.
Oh, you talking about this one here?
Yeah.
I've never played it. It's supposed to be good. Um, this is the intro to it.
Yeah, I imagine it's a port of the Room from other platforms. I guess that's a good
Okay,
thing
right.
about um creating things in a library like Unity, in that you can generally easily port them over to different platforms.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That is good. That is you do want to you do want to you see that actually with people who've ported Quake and Quake 2 using
Mm.
Unity and using I don't know if you use Unity, but they brought that into and in fact I can show you it. I've had it installed where they made a whole room immersive Quake 2.
Yeah. From what I've heard from game developers, it can actually be quite challenging to do things like unit testing with Unity libraries, and a lot of practices that we take for granted in like the software engineering space. They're a bit harder to port over for testing video games. Things like continuous delivery, unit testing, all of these things are a bit more challenging when you have to render 3D objects and emulate a physics engine.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can imagine being very different. I mean, I don't know of any experience. I've never done any Unity development. I have it installed, but I keep saying I'm going to use it. I've never actually bothered learning.
I started doing some tutorials with a high school kid I was tutoring programming before, but it was just some basic stuff. We were just going through online tutorials together.
Okay, cool, fair enough. Actually, I just want to say, can you hear anything from the VR? You can hear me obviously, but can you hear any of the sound?
No, can't hear anything from the VR headset.
Okay, let me just. I think I know why. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
It's because of a separate setting to turn on sound, which it's all right from the moment, but you can't. You know, there's nothing really to hear right now. It will become more of an issue if you want to play something like Beat Saber.
Hmm.
You should be able to hear a low humming in the background.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
I'll just test this. What I'm going to do, I'll just show you the apps that we have.
I can hear you. I can hear you scrolling through the menu now.
Oh, can you? Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
These are the apps I have installed. So I've got VRChat, Pistol Whip, which is like a shooting game. It's a lot of fun, to be honest. I'm not quite sure I would test it though. Beat Saber, which you're familiar with. Beat Saber, for those who don't know it, is a game where basically you slice blocks with music. So it's like a some of a word capture dance game.
Yeah. It's a rhythm-based lightsaber dancing game.
Rhythm-based game, yeah. And of course, YouTube, Big Screen, which is like a cinema, group cinema type app. Virtual Desktop, which communicates with my computer. VZFit, which is one of the things we might look at today. An exercise stroke cycling app, but you render everything in a 3D in a world that's created. You render your path through real photos that are created through Street View.
Hmm.
Actually, let's have a look at the first one. Let's have a look at VRChat.
Yep. Show us through that one.
All right, so because this has got really interesting sort of weird physics. Most of these rooms are created by members of the chat or by enthusiasts. I think the main room that we go to is created by them. You can like have your own avatar and stuff and select them.
Yeah.
So it's initializing the world. This is there's a lot of this particular particular world, there'll only be me in. It's just my individual support. Well, I think it's the same for everyone. Um, can you see I'm kind of in some
Yeah,
virtual world with?
I can see that.
Okay, hi. So for a couple of things, there are different types of movements in this world. First of all, uh, you can position yourself in a certain point.
Oh
So
yeah.
my avatar is this little robot that runs around.
Yeah, so it's a point based
Okay.
movement system.
So that's the first one. These portals here lead into different rooms, group rooms, chat and stuff. There are other ways of doing movement. I think this is probably not the best for finding defects. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is put the launch pad. This is one of the menus it provides. Lists all the different worlds and also different avatars you can have.
Yeah.
I just kind of go for the default avatar, which is the one in mind. But they haven't purchased it. And there's various things like settings. So, for example, my positioning through point is known as holoform. If I take it off and I just move around like this. Now, in this world, there are certain things I can pass through. I can't pass through this, right? I can't pass through walls. But I can pass through, for example, there are certain things it doesn't respect, like, for example, this sofa. I can walk through this sofa, and I can walk through this fire.
Oh, well, at least it's not burning you.
It's not, no. And in fact, it makes some of the, like, for example, I can't walk through a wall. So, for example, I can't do this, right?
Yeah.
I can't jump off. Well, not here anyway. But there's a plant pot there, and I can walk through it and jump off.
Ah, you're just falling out of the universe there.
Yeah, it's all right. They're respawning it. It's okay. For example, also, you would think that these fences would stop me from walking off.
They don't? Oh, if you walk backwards?
But if you walk forward as well.
Oh.
If you don't know this one, you're still handling people control. It's very easy to click backwards. You start off here, right? You're
Yeah.
only what, maybe a meter away in virtual reality space from the end. So there are weird little physicsy things in this game. It depends on the rooms you're in. Some of them are even worse, to be honest. But like, for example, you can do other things. For example, you can pick things up. You can try and throw them, but they stick in space.
That was not a good throw.
Not really, no, it sucks. Sorry. Like, for example, you can also do really weird things like you take this. I only found this out the other day when I was actually preparing for this, trying to think of things that might actually fail in this world. You can place it in the wall.
Ah, well, there you go. It's a bit odd.
Yeah. I can take this plant pot, I can't chuck it, but I can pass it through a wall and stick it off the edge of the world.
Okay.
So there's weird little things in it that would haven't really. I like this game. Don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes some kids get annoying, but there are certain things where in this particular room and in the other room they haven't they've made for really they haven't thought of the physics that well, or they've decided to leave the physics a bit weird.
So is that are we seeing a bit of jumping or clipping on your, or is it just as you move around, or is there some sort of delay?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe there is you watching the stream, although it seems
Yeah,
pretty close.
it's just looking like it's jumping around a lot.
It's quite possible. I may not be able to help with that.
Okay, cool. As long as
Yeah.
it's not jumping around too much from your point of view, I think this is just a hardware plus live streaming issue
Yeah.
rather than a.
Like that. I can jump up and down. I can turn my microphone on. That's really I'm in a room with other people. I can bring up a launch pad sort of view where I can put out my arm, where I can select to go into a different world. And we'll do that in a bit. can jump on here, for instance. I can do some things like I can jump on the roof, for instance.
Yeah, I don't think I had seen a jump mechanic in some of the VR games before.
Yeah, some of them don't have it. I didn't realize you could jump until fairly recently. Can't climb the trees though.
Mm.
But yeah, so you can. Some of the rooms don't have jumps in. I think some of the rooms, or at least I've not been able to do it.
Yep.
You can also draw. You can also use pens. So I'm going to use that one. It doesn't show very well. So, for example, I can just draw stuff. But because it doesn't really respect the rules of the game, the rules of physics with the walls, I can do this. I can draw into the walls too,
Okay.
and I can see what I've drawn. So the pen can go through the wall, and it can draw things on the other side. So for instance, I can do that. Turn around, you can see it there.
Fair enough.
These are the kinds of things you see in a lot of VR games.
Yeah.
I can also rub this out too. There's a rubber eraser. I can also just draw around the room like this. As you can see, that's my pen mark flying around the room.
Yeah.
I can also do this.
I'll jump off the world with the pen.
And you can see I've respawned there and gone back here. That's where I jumped off.
And you still got the pen in your hand.
Yeah, so there's weird little quirks like this. I don't know. I mean, it could be that they are defects that people haven't picked up or that they decided to ignore it. But this is not really. This is really a room where people jump in and jump out of, go to their sort of meeting room.
Yep.
But it is interesting in terms of like, these are still things that you find in VR worlds or in VR apps. For example, like in past, none of these really exist. They
Yeah.
don't exist necessarily in VR, but even in the game, they don't exist.
They're just rendered. They're not actually coded
They're
to
not solid.
be. Yeah, they don't have solid. They've just got rendering on them.
So another thing you can do is you can put avatars.
I don't think the Mural is showing the pen line in the room. If you look
Yeah, it's
behind
not.
you.
Right. It isn't. I don't think the other do.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm not going to set that theory now.
Oh.
Two bits of it.
Uh. Yeah, it doesn't really render the drawing.
Yeah, I'll put this down. What you can also do is the point of this is every room in the whole of VR has a mirror, or loads of mirrors in, and then you can use this to, in this particular room, change your avatar. So I'll change my avatar to this. And
Yeah,
this.
so you can change the avatar and look.
What you find is that sometimes they have different effects on your height.
Yeah, I've just found you became a lot smaller.
Yeah, indeed. So you have a sit and stand mode, and there's hardly any difference here.
Yeah,
If I went
for
back to, I think this is more, this is one that's about adult. Yeah, some of them don't really have proper, some of the avatars don't really have like good sit mode. If I just go back to the one I previously selected, the one I previously had, okay, I'll get this one first. Right. Yeah, sit mode, yeah, as you can see, I'm dead small here at the moment.
yeah, that changed your avatar without you actually changing it. That seems like a bit of a
Yeah, I wonder if I just click two things, without realizing. Okay, let me just show you a few things, right?
Yep.
So this is, I mean, most of the rooms have these sorts of portals where you can go to other rooms. especially if they're created by the same people. Mostly they're created by by users. They're not created by the organisers. This is maybe the only room I think that's created by the organisers or the people who develop VRChat. Now I might even be wrong about that. But if you want to, and I'll just switch my audio off when I do this because otherwise everyone else in the world will hear our conversation. But you go for this one, for instance. Usually loads the room, but I've been here once before recently. So. So as you can see, this is some of the avatars don't make sense in terms of their size. Like this is someone's avatar.
Bro, no one's talking to you. You're like 5.
And it takes up like half the space.
My balls. Strangle the duck.
These are all real people with avatars in the game.
Yeah.
And these are all like computer simulated stuff. And you go and see them.
I just strangled a fucking duck.
Actually, I might just leave this room.
Yeah. It's like when you're in like an online voice chat with someone who sounded quite young and they're like, you know, I just haven't strangled a duck.
Yeah, exactly. And I was a bit concerned about that going from that. I mean, they are kind of the Wild West a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of VR. But let me just show you what I can do is I can show you all where I have found some issues. This is one of the more common ones. Movie and chill. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open new instance. I'm the only person in it.
Okay.
So
yeah, I guess at least I'm not monetizing stuff on Twitch or YouTube yet, so I don't really have to worry about language censorship just yet.
Yeah, true. But then you end up with people using the N-word
stuff. And I think with the YouTube algorithm, I think they only demonetize you if you swear in the first minute.
Okay.
So there's a YouTuber from Sydney called Nat's What I Reckon, he's a real character, does cooking videos and whatnot, and he swears like a trooper. He's a real bogan. He's a metalhead bogan. And he basically bleeps out all of the swear words for the first minute and then starts swearing, or, you know, doesn't edit them out after the minute.
So this is, I do know people who've been monetized on YouTube. I mean, I never swear anyway, whenever I've done. I might have done maybe once, but no. I've always had too small a readership for monetization. This is a room called Movie and Chill. And here, usually, this is created by actual people, by people and their supporters, usually people who do a Patreon account. So they have different options, like you can change the mode, night mode, change the color correction, all those sorts of things. There are, down this way, for instance, you go here, you have a little cinema.
Okay.
I brought you here because I've been able to do some really weird things in this room now and again. They have movies on here. I'm not going to show you that. You can pick up things in here. For example, you can pick this sheet that you do, and it's a bit like the other room where like you can't actually chuck it. So you can do things like put it outside the window. You can't go to the window yourself, but you can put things outside it. You can even pick the head. Brush. Put it where it's like this room here, I'm actually myself stuck on the ceiling one. The ceiling is not solid.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
This is one of those rooms where they have private rooms. I've never used these, but like there are private rooms where you can go into and lock the door, and it's basically like VR couples sort of thing. Um, so this is another room. You can they have games you can play. I've never tried playing them, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think they would work all that well in VR.
Well, people do like them.
Yeah.
I can't even, so you can, for example, you can set the game mode, set the time, you can set what team you are. But I can't pick up I can't pick that one. I can't actually pick up any of the cubes, so I don't quite know what I've done wrong.
Yeah.
I can trigger this. I can trigger that, but I can't find the ball. I don't quite know what I'm doing wrong here. Here they've got a hot tub.
Did you just walk through the bar?
I did, yes.
Okay. That's a bit disorientating.
Yeah, as you do. You can change the full floor height. No, I can't walk through the floor. I don't quite know what's going on there. If you change the full floor height, you can no longer get in. Maybe I've got to jump. Hold on.
Seems a bit odd.
Oh, there you go. I mean, you can take a shot. You can take a selfie of yourself. You can the various options. You also have a mirror, I think. Yeah, these are mirrors, I think. A transparent mirror. So you can see yourself there. Transparent mirror. You can change the size of it. You have a normal mirror, which is I think that shows the video.
So if
Oh, this is
if
the mirror.
you if you were testing a VR game and came across a bug, how would you go about trying to reproduce it?
Well, I'll probably just go through all the steps that I could remember doing. And then, like for example here, and also I'd look at all the options I could select. So for example, I was able to recreate this by realizing it was linked to the floor height. And usually with these sorts of worlds, there's always buttons you can press.
Mm.
You know. So here there's 4 buttons, and they all do different things. This one turns off this one. And that's fine.
Why does it go all blue?
I think it's, I don't know. I think it's because I've it's to do with this, whatever this is. Or maybe it's this one. Or maybe it's this one. It's the rest one. Usually if something's blue, it means there's a massive specific button. Or something you can select. But I can't see what it is right now. I know that this isn't. Hold on.
There you go, you
Hold on,
fell
yeah.
out.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, I fell out. Which is a bit, being able to walk off the edge without realizing it.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a little bit of an annoying experience.
It is. Most of the people that either just sit around and chat. So, I mean, they don't even know how to get involved. One thing I have found are this stops you from going over the edge, and I can't jump off the edge either.
Yeah, there just seems to be
Oh,
some.
I can.
There you go. You jumped off.
I did. Well, I haven't actually jumped off. I'm floating. I'm sitting on an edge, which is not actually in the room.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I can walk around. this can be a bit of an issue. This could be a security issue actually, because if I can do this, if I can walk around a room and see all the other rooms, it might actually because a lot of some of these rooms, I don't know if this is in this one because some of the
Especially,
rooms are locked and they're meant for private couples.
yeah, especially if it's meant to be a private room and you can actually just walk around the edge and potentially clip into a section where maybe the wall is not necessarily completely surrounding the thing.
That's true. I mean, like if you look at this room here, I don't have a lock on it, although it can be seen from here. So it's not
Yeah.
but a lot of these rooms, like for example, these ones in the middle, they have multiple doors. The room is open and closed, and they're meant to couple private parties. So that might actually be a bit of a security risk if I can walk around and see. I don't know if I can see this room.
Anyway, we're actually relatively close to time. We've been on the air for 50 minutes now.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Yeah.
So shall I just want me to move on to the rest of the time we have left, so I could keep trying to explore these things.
Can't quite hear what you said.
Okay, so what would you like me to do in the remaining 10 minutes?
I think if we just do a bit of a debrief for like some of the issues that came up, how you might try to reproduce or anything else from a testing point of view.
Well, let's go back to the main room. So I think the sound more
Yeah, I guess also like from a performance point of view, if you've got like hundreds of people in a room, I wonder if it slows down the experience somewhat.
It can do. One of the things that, well, that is an issue. It can do. I think they limit these rooms to something like 20 or 30 people. If you look, if I go to, if you look at the world, right, and I click on this room, moving and shape, there are, what did it say, 4,400 people originally. There's 2,000, there's 143 in the public room, and 2,965 in the private room. But as you can see here, these are individual instances, and they've only got like 20 odd people in them.
Yep.
So, or 37. And so these are capped at 40.
Yeah.
And I suppose that with the author, doctors, whoever created this room, decided that was the limit. Before. It can be a bit of an issue with some of the other apps. Like, for example, I've got an app called Big Screen, where people also project their screens so they can show films and things. Right? And you're limited to 15. The reason for that is your server is the main server. Your computer becomes the server, whatever shown on the screen.
Yeah, and there's often like a common problem with multiple people in a room just trying to talk. Like whose microphone gets priority and who gets heard.
Well, that's true. And in some cases, like in VRChat and in Big Screen and even in Horizon venues, which is the big event, everyone just talks. You hear everyone
Oh,
speak.
it's just that's also like a bit of a consideration in terms of VR is location of sound. If you've got a bunch of people in a room, do you also have to model how their voices move around that room as well? Is everyone set at the same volume, or?
I think it is generally. I think the only distinction is distance. So, like if somebody's avatar is further away, you don't hear them loud.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, I have a problem for people speak. I don't know unless I can hear it.
Yeah, a lot of different problems that potentially need to be modeled with VR. And if you're trying to replicate meat space or make it a different experience.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's I have been in rooms where some of the avatars are quite highly rendered.
Mm.
I mean, we saw in the other room as well. The avatars are not just basic ones, but some of them were enormous and some of them were very detailed. How you think in this game. And And the Oculus is not doesn't have a graphics card in like GeForce or NVIDIA, so it can sometimes slow them down when there's a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, like my partner updated their graphics card when they got their VR headset. Like their previous graphics card was fine, is now in my current computer, but it was just nicer to have a beefier system for VR stuff.
Okay, yeah. I've come back to this room again. I think I know a way where somebody could accidentally, as opposed to deliberately jump off the edge. So, for example, I'm on the hammock.
Yep.
There you go. And it's quite easy to slip backwards if you're sitting on the hammock and drag yourself into it.
Hmm.
I mean, I get off it fairly easily, but you know, but I can imagine there are lots of worlds that are like that, where you could because of the positioning of objects in the room you can walk on.
Yep.
Like for example, even on this bed, this is solid, but the room is the wall, the ceiling isn't. So I can see all the rooms.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's quite cool.
And cat cushion. Yeah, you can put it into the wall. Can you put a cat cushion or something into the private room through the wall?
Probably can actually. I'll take this cushion. It's not a cat cushion. It's an anime cushion. Let me see if I can go in. That's not bad.
Oh, okay.
I don't think these rooms. I think these rooms are generated once you click on the door. I don't think they actually that they exist in the game itself.
Okay.
And you have to go away with playing stuff, which I suspect may not be the most may have interesting legality.
So, in terms of wrapping up, what has been like the most irritating bug you found from VR?
Irritating bugs have been when things have crashed. I don't know why. Or like when you put details, or if you fill in details on the screen and then you click on save and it crashes. Also, there's a particular problem with VZFit. It's not a problem with VZFit, it's just a magic workaround, which is that it has a cycling mode, which relies on cadence sensors, which are attached to your bike. So if I switch on
search,
if I switch on the pass-through mode, so you can see the world around me. Here you can see there's a cadence sensor, which picks up if the wheels are turning. And the reason I've installed this is because Bluetooth connected to the headset. There's one on here as well, up on that side. And sometimes you have a situation where it doesn't always detect it when it first starts, or it detects the wrong one, which means you've got to stop it, restart it, cycle, cycle again, stop it, restart it, sometimes put it back into hand control mode and back. But I managed to work around that, so it's not a big deal. Also, you can have a situation as well where, let me just see if I can replicate it. No, I may not be able to replicate it without putting the screen, clicking the off button on here. But like if somebody comes to the door and you click off the off button, which is only like a sleep button, go out of the room, come back in, this ends up being somewhere totally different.
Oh, okay. Does it reset your
It ends up being like
reset your Guardian after it goes to sleep?
They can reset the Guardian as we saw before. Yeah, this is particularly an issue with the Guardian being reset.
Yeah, it does sound irritating.
But I mean, really, there's not many problems with these. This is quite new tech, and and a lot of these a lot of the apps are quite new. There's not that many problems really. I mean, I probably have worse problems with Windows PC.
No, I think
specific problems.
VR has been around for a little while. I think it's had plenty of time to iron out some of the common issues.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. I suppose. Um, you know, yeah, the technology of VR and the 3D layer, creation of 3D worlds, right, been around for a long time. But I mean, generally, I can still. I mean, there's very few problems that have put me off using it.
Mm.
I mean, and I do love, VR. I do love it. I do love the setup. There's been nothing that's really irritating me as such.
And if
Wherever
any,
you are, you can basically click the main menu and come out of it, and then just load it again.
yeah. And for anyone who's watching who might be interested in pursuing a career in like video game testing and stuff like that, do you have any tips on how they might start?
I don't, I'm afraid. There are sort of big gaming companies and independent ones in the space you can look at. But I mean, if you actually Google VR testing, it's not a lot of info.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know of any other testers who work, of any testers who work specifically in VR.
Yeah,
So I may not. There are. It's if you look at a good place to start would be the main creators of things like Beat Saber or VRChat, VZFit. Um, or even on stream, you can have a look at the various creators of the stream VR. We've not looked at that today, the PC VR application,
mm.
and see who's making them and if they've got jobs going.
Yeah, I don't think we actually have a huge game developer market, I guess, in Australia. I know there's World of Tanks. That's a company based in Sydney.
Yeah.
Riot Games, who do, is it LOL or Dota? They've got
Okay.
an office in Sydney too. There's a bunch of small independent game developers in Melbourne that I know of.
One option actually is to try get jobs at say Facebook or Microsoft, because Microsoft is in the VR space. They're the ones that do the Outspace VR
Yeah.
application, and Facebook is moving very heavily to VR. They do a lot of that VR. So Horizon Workroom, if I just Horizon Workroom, Horizon Worlds, which is another app that they created, which is an app you can't get in Australia. Basically, it's like their version of say VRChat.
Yeah,
Um,
and Facebook do hire some developers in Australia as well. But I
sorry.
just Facebook do have a team. I think some of the sales engineers and developers work in Sydney. But I don't think Facebook as a company has a history of hiring testers. I've known lots of people, or a couple of people, who used to be testers but who no longer get that type of role in companies like Google and Facebook. So they become like software engineers and test, or performance experts, or DevOps engineers. Those types of companies don't seem to really hire testers directly.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. I don't know much about how they hire people on Facebook. But yeah, it's like they're not hiring testers. So it's disappointing to get the space. However, I think that there are lots of things in VR that, as your friend said, don't lend themselves well to other types of testing.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is experience and manual testing, trying out things in the real world, trying out things in the game, like in other games. They hire lots of people just to do that. And there are certain experiential things that you can't, that would be very difficult to automate, if not impossible. So I would
Yeah.
imagine that there'd be unless they just simply put it out to beta and then people report issues there. I imagine there would be at least some areas.
Yeah, I guess also like how would you come up with a decent bug triaging process if people were raising feedback for in-app experiences. Because normally if it's a mobile app, usually you can just take a screenshot of the issue that's occurring. I guess you could
Well, you
take a
do that.
screenshot in this situation and someone
You
can
can
try
do
to
it. You can do it
explain.
this. Like for example, if I just there are tools for taking screenshots.
Yeah, but if you were trying to explain a bug that occurred, having a little bit of context of how that experience became a bit weird as well,
Yeah.
how you got into that point, um, yeah, wouldn't necessarily automatically be captured.
No, it wouldn't. And you know, there are certain things that I mean, there are certain things that regarding the different ways of movement in VR. For example, I can predict if you look back at that would be hard to replicate. You wouldn't necessarily think of doing it unless you were maybe an experienced tester or at least an experienced gamer, or unless you kind of accident. And they may be hard to explain. Like
Yep,
for example, I can position myself using the joypad as I showed you before, but I can also step backwards and forwards.
yep,
And if I set if the wall I'm trying to interact with, if I've met the wall in the using this using the controller, nothing to stop me stepping forward
yep,
apart from the space I'm in. But that might be hard to replicate, you know, and it'd be hard to demonstrate that experience otherwise. To kind of see the weird things you might get then. Actually, one of the weird things in another room that I didn't show you today, but in VRChat, I actually found a door which wasn't openable. I stepped forward and found a staircase I'd never seen before.
cool. I think we might wrap up there.
All right, cool, no problem. Yeah, sorry, I was just saying something I saw. Yeah, cool. Yeah, excellent. Well, yeah, well, thank you so much, Sammy.
No
Shall we end it
worries.
there?
I hope everyone enjoyed that stream. It was a little different, but we actually got into testing some products. So thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.